All right, welcome back. This is the part two of the August 18th Music Appreciation. August 18th Music Appreciation part two. Okay, I need you to have this piece of paper out. Okay, the one that says note rhythm and rest tree. Okay, it's called the rhythm tree. I don't know why the title of the page is at the bottom, but you see how it says rhythm. Oh, get that out, rhythm, and then tree. Okay, so go ahead and get that sheet out. We're just going to, like I said, today is just a review day of what we learned from the 17th. Okay, um, yeah, okay. So I know we went over this on the 17th, and in class yesterday, in class with the kids for today, we went over it all again. Like I said, it's going to be review, work, review, work, review. Okay, so go ahead and have that sheet out, and I'm going to pause it real quick while I turn it. All right, so welcome back. You should be on the note side, okay? There, you can see how this one side says notes, this side says rest. Go to the note side, okay? We're just going to review over this real quick, and that will probably be all for this day, because that's all we did in class is just review over all this stuff and made sure everyone understood what was going on, okay? So let's start at the top, okay? So we got our first little square all the way at the top, okay? I got it written up here, squares, okay? This first square, what kind of note is it, okay? That's what that would be the first thing you always want to find out, okay? This first box, okay? It was a whole note, okay? A whole note. Remember on the video I said think of a piece of pie, okay? Because when you take a pie fresh out of the oven or something, and it's not cut, it's just one whole piece of pie. Okay, once people start cutting the pie is when it starts to turn into slices. All right, so think of a fresh baked pie coming out of the oven, a circular pie. Okay, most pies are most circular, and think of it being not cut yet as a whole piece of pie. Okay, so we have a whole note as our first type of note. Okay, this is how it's drawn. Okay, remember it's just a circle. Okay, a whole note is just a circle. Okay, a whole note is just a circle. Okay, remember we count it. Or next, after we figure out what kind of note it is, we need to figure out how many beats it has, okay? And remember, we wrote out that it has 4 beats, okay? A whole note has 4 beats, okay? And then we got to figure out how to count it, okay? When I say a whole note has 4 beats, that means it's going to have you're going to count it 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I was to clap it, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Because remember, we gave it a one big one, a little 2, little 3, little 4, because you only articulate a whole note one time, okay? But then you hold it out for 2, 3, 4. So if I was to sing a whole note, it would sound like this: 1, 2. It would sound 1. Did you hear how? Did you hear how that I didn't re-say 2, 3, 4? Okay, you wouldn't say 2, 3, 4 because you're holding it out on 1. 1, but we count it 1, 2, 3, 4 because I get 4 claps. I clap my hands together 4 times before I let go of the note. So watch. 1, you hear that 4 claps, okay? So that's why we count it big 1, little 2, little 3, little 4, because we want to make sure that we know we play it on 1, but hold it out for 2, 3, 4, okay? Then we take our whole piece of pie, okay? We cut the pie in half, okay, or our whole note in half, okay, and we're getting down to these two, okay. So we've taken our whole note, and now we're cutting in half, okay. We're cutting a whole note in half, and to remember, these notes are going to be called half notes, okay. They're going to be called half notes. Okay, they're going to be called half notes, okay. Half notes after we figure out what half notes are or what it is, we got to figure out what it looks like, okay? A half note is a circle just like the whole note, except you're going to have a stem, okay? A half note is going to be a circle but with a stem, okay? An open circle with a stem, okay? A half note gets how many beats? Okay, 2. Why does it get 2? Because we started off with whole note, it has 4 counts. But then we split the whole note in half, and we're only left with 2 counts, okay? So that's why a half note gets 2 counts, okay? And then we count it big 1, little 2, okay? Or the first number is always going to be big, and the second number is always going to be small, okay? It might be a big 3, big 4, or a big 2, big 3. It really depends on what beat it comes in, okay? And we'll get to what all that kind of stuff. So I just want you to know for right now that a half note will always get a big number and a little number, okay? So half notes, 2 beats, gets a big number and a little number, okay? Now our half notes, okay, we can split our 2 half notes, okay, these 2 right here, we can split the 2 half notes even further down to 4 more, 4 different beats, okay? And we call, so after we get the half notes, we split them down to 4, okay? And we get this note. It's called a quarter note, okay? When you think, okay, so we've taken our pie, cut it in half, and made 2 halves. Now we're cutting both the halves in half again, and we're left with 4 pieces, right? All right, so if I was to draw this up here, okay? Oh, that is not a circle, but we're going to deal with it. Okay, so I draw a circle, pie. I cut it in half, okay? Those halves represent the half note. Now I'm going to cut each half in half again. How many pieces is left? That should be 4, okay? That's why we got 4 right here. 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes to represent 4 quarter notes, okay? So these notes are called quarter notes. So quarter notes, they're drawn like this. It's a closed circle with a stem, okay? A closed circle with a stem, okay? How many beats does a quarter note get? 1, okay? A quarter note gets 1 beat. And that's why we have big 1, big 2, big 3, big 4 written out, okay? Big 1, big 2, big 3, big 4, all right? Because they all get 1 beat. There's no small numbers that go with quarter notes, okay? Got it? Good. All right, so then I remember I didn't draw all these out, and I'm not going to, okay? Then we look at our paper. Each of the 4 boxes of the quarter note now separates into 2 more boxes, okay? Each of the 4 boxes now separate into 2 more boxes itself, okay? This is where we get the 8th note, okay? The 8th note. Okay, because what we've done now, okay, looking at our pie up here, is we've taken the whole pie, cut it in half, right? Then we took the halves and cut it in, we took each half and cut it in half, which left with 4 pieces. Now we're going to cut the 4 pieces in half itself. Okay, and after we cut the 4 pieces in half, we have 8 pieces. And that's where we get the 8th note from, okay? So this note right here, remember, make sure you're drawing this in every box. I know I didn't, but I want you to, okay? 8th note. It gets half a beat, okay? So you're like, why does it get half a beat, okay? So look, why does an 8th note get half a beat? We've gone from the whole note that gets 4. We spread it in half to the half note. Half note gets 2. We split 2 in half, we're left with 1 beat, okay, for the quarter note. Now we're going to split the 1 beat in half, and we're just left with a half of a beat, okay? So that's why the 8th note gets half a beat. And then remember, in 8th notes, okay, and I'm not stressing the 8th note counting too much because we won't get 8th notes for a while in class, but just to let you already have you knowledge of it, okay? Remember, when we count 8th notes, they're always grouped in 2s. 8th notes are always grouped in 2. Let me say it one more time. 8th notes are always grouped in 2. Okay? The first 8th note always gets the number. Okay? The first 8th note always gets the number. The first 8th note always gets the number. Okay? I can't express that enough. The first 8th note always gets the number. While the second 8th note, okay? So first 8th note, second 8th note, the second 8th note gets the and. And. Okay? Or you can either draw the and or you can draw a little plus. Sometimes people draw pluses instead, okay? I like to do the actual and symbol, okay? So remember, 1, the first 8th note gets the number. The second 8th note gets the and, okay? Remember that, okay? You got it? Now, remember, I know this is confusing, might be a little confusing, but if you need questions, if you have questions, just answer or email me, okay? Flip to the back, okay? Flip to the back. Hopefully I can get this done in the next 5 minutes because that's about all I got, okay? Flip to the back, and I'm going to pause it real quick so I can flip my thing. All right, so welcome back, okay? You should be on the rest side, okay? Now, the important thing about the rest side, okay, is to remember the names stay the same between the notes and the rest. The names stay the same except one's a rest, one's a note, okay? That's the first thing. The beats stay the same. All right, the beats, the number of beats. So I said a whole rest, a whole note on the front gets 4 beats. So a whole rest is going to get 4 beats. Okay, they stay the same beats. The counting stays the same too. Okay, the counting stays the same too. All the 1, 2, 3, 4. The counting stays the same too. Except this time, each number will have a dash in it. Okay, and remember the dashes represent silence. Okay, can't say that enough. The dashes represent silence, okay? The main thing that changes between the rest and the notes is the symbols look a little bit, the symbols, like the things in the boxes, they look different, okay? That's the main thing, okay? You understand? I know I can't see if you understand, but I really truly hope you understand, okay? So let's get through this real quick, okay? As quickly as we can. So look at this first one. Okay, we got the whole rest. Remember, this is how it's drawn. It looks like a hat, a top hat facing down. Okay, can y'all see it? Yeah, you can see it. Okay, it gets 4 beats, and then it gets a little. All rests get little numbers. I don't know why I drew a big number, but rest always get little numbers. Okay, so we count the whole rest gets 4 beats. So 1, 2, 3, 4, all with a dash in it. Okay, you got to make sure there's a dash in it. Okay, 4 beats, and then we go down to the half rest. Half rest looks opposite to the whole rest with the hat being on top. Okay, remember 2 beats, just like the half note. Half rest gets 2 beats. Okay, and it gets 2, and the half rest will get 2 numbers with dashes. Okay. All right, and then those 2 half rests go into the 4 quarter rests. Remember, these are kind of like squiggly lines. I tried my best to draw them. Okay, a squiggly line. That's kind of what a quarter rest will look like. Okay, so we got 4 quarter rests. Quarter rest, just like the quarter note, gets 4, or the quarter rest, just like the quarter note, gets 1 beat. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and make sure they have dashes in them. Okay. And then we get down to the eighth rest. Okay, I didn't really draw these very well. Okay, so look up here if you need to redraw them, that's fine. Okay, the eighth rest is supposed to be a circle with a 7. Okay, that's all it is a circle with a 7. Okay, and that's kind of what I have written down here, but very tiny. So I'm sorry if you can't see it. Okay, so it's supposed to be a circle with a 7. A circle with a 7. Okay? And remember, the counting doesn't change, okay? The eighth rest gets in a quarter and eighth notes. There's 2 eighth notes for every group, right? There's 2 eighth rests for every group. The first eighth note always gets the number, okay? So make sure you put that dash in between that one, okay? And the second one gets the and count. Dash. So this should look like 1 dash and dash, okay? And remember, the dashes represent silence, okay? The dashes represent silence. Dashes represent silence, okay? If you can start to understand that a little bit better, then you'll be set for what we got in store for the rest of this class, okay? I got a minute left on this video, okay? I was really hoping to make this in 2, in which I am. Tonight's homework, okay? Tonight's homework is note naming worksheet number 1, okay? Tonight's homework is this note naming sheet number 1, okay? Just like the, actually, I'm go look for part 3. I'm going to explain this homework on part 3. It's going to be a short video, but I'm going to explain it on part 3. So go find part 3.